Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Atelier Artisan Demo Raid Train. How is everyone doing? Hi, Athena. Hi, Doodle. Hi, Nance. Hey, we're going to be playing with some gel prints. Helps if I have my gel plate. Oh, it's been a day. How is everyone? Hi, Tracy. Probably should have got this started. I usually do for a demo and I didn't today, so it's a whole thing. Hi, Abra. You just got one and have no idea how to use it. Well, ma'am, I am getting ready to help you out with that. I'm going to go over the basics and we're going to play for a minute. Amazing. That means we're on YouTube. So if you're watching this from YouTube, hello and welcome. There should be a little QR code right there that you can click on and you can come over to Whatnot and play with us. If you have never been on Whatnot before, when you sign up, you get $15 to shop with. So it's a good deal. But thank you all for joining. They had a little bit of a hiccup in the raid train, and Weirding Studios covered. So hi, Rockings. Hi, Crafters Outpost. Wanda Beloved, how are you, darling? That is really very glary. We'll go back to there. Botanical prints on fabric. Weirding Studios, thank you so very much for the raid and welcome everyone to the Atelier Artisan Demo Raid Train, hosted by our very own daydreamer, Debbie. Debbie, thank you so very much for putting this train on. And it's just, it's been over 2 years now we've been doing this. So blessed God's favor too. Hello and thank you. Wendy, hi, darling. I think I just missed a whole ton of people and I apologize. Welcome. This is actually on YouTube. Our dear friend Karen said she got the notification, so I'm very excited that this demo is going to go over there so you can go back and rewatch it. We're going to be here for an hour and then we are raiding into Barbara Florentine, who is an amazing artist. Missy Sue, hello. What time is it, Deb? Let me look at the schedule and I'll see what time it is. Maybe we could do a part 2. So anyway, if you are new to me, hello, I am Tam of Tam's Creative Journey. I have been arting and crafting for most of my life. I've been doing jewelry making. 7, so it would be 5 for me. Debbie, I'll message you when we get done here. We'll figure it out, babe. I've been paper crafting and making jewelry for like 40 years plus. I love working in the art room. I love playing with botanicals. I do junk journaling, altered books, all the things. It would take me the whole hour to explain all the things that I have done and taught. I love teaching beading and jewelry making, but gel printing is one of my favorite things to do. It is very relaxing. It is so fun. Hardcore ADHD, and I always have to be busy. And if I don't create, I kind of start losing my mind, to be honestly, Athena. It's a whole thing. So a gel plate is literally what it says. It is a plate of gel. They come in these plastic cases. If you purchase one, you need to keep the plastic case to store it in. There are a couple of different brands. Jelly Arts is the particular one we're using today. Gel Press is another one that is good. If you are shopping in Michael's, do not buy the Speedball gel plate because the Speedball gel plate can only be used with Speedball inks and they are ridiculously expensive. It is meant for print making. So please don't confuse those. And because if you put your acrylic inks or your acrylic paints on the Speedball one that you can get at Michael's, it will ruin it. So it's a huge waste of money. And it says that in the very fine print of it. So it's very frustrating to me. So I leave mine dirty, as if you know me, you know I love grunge. And this is leftover from the last time we did this. I do this every month. It's just a situation. So you keep the plastic covers to keep it. I like to keep my backing on mine just to give it a little bit of stability. Some people prefer to remove that and both sides when they're working with it. It is completely a personal choice, and either way works just fine. Um, if you're going to be doing this, the other thing that you need, Maple, do you recognize this? Is a brayer to spread your acrylic paint, and then you're going to need some acrylic paints. Um, right? Venti Pup, I'm telling you. Um, you can use other things. One of the things that I found that works really well is a silicone cooking mat. It doesn't give quite the crispness, but if you're starting out, these are not cheap, and you want to play with it and see if you like it before you invest in one of these. Please understand that you're not going to get the crisp pulls that you would get with an actual gel plate. A brayer of some kind to spread your paint is preferred. You can spread it with a paintbrush, but you're going to end up with your brush marks. The other thing is someplace over here, a whole stack of papers. I prefer to use the cheaper copier paper. You can use junk mail, any paper to do your polls. I particularly like a grid paper. I use these for pages in my journals. So I really like using the grid paper because it gives me lines. It's non-directional. The other thing that we did last month was some prints on just cotton fabric. This is an old tea towel that I had cleaned up a coffee disaster on my art table, and it happened to be sitting here, and so we printed on this last month. I did grab some fabric so we can do some fabric pulls, but I want to just get you started out with some basics to begin with. Um, One of the biggest mistakes that people make with gel printing is using too much paint. I'm working on a 9 by 12. So I'm going to be using a little bit more paint than you would use for, say, an 8 by 10 or a 5 by 7. It really does not take a lot. Oh, the other thing, sorry, two more things before I throw paint on there. You can use for patterns, and you'll understand this more when I show you. Like I said, I love my grid paper. So this is just some inexpensive carpet backing that I got at the Dollar Tree. It makes amazing grid lines. You can also use stencils. You can use just, this is a piece of corrugated cardboard that I ripped a layer off of. It gives an amazing grungy texture. You can use doilies, which will probably do to go with what we're working on today. You can use bubbles. all the things, you guys. Anything that you can think of that will make a pattern in your paint can absolutely be used on your gel plate. I would suggest to not use anything metal because you don't want to gouge your plate because once it's gouged, it never goes away. So, this is where we're at. We're going to take a little bit of paint. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Atelier Artisan Demo Train, hosted by Daydreamer Debbie. So to get this started, I'm going to put a little more paint than I normally would because it's been a minute since I've used this. And I'm just going back and forth lightly. I'm not pushing down because it'll make marks. It's a roll and a pull, a roll and a pull. And you just go back and forth until you get the paint evenly across the whole plate. Yep, I did it to myself again. The life of a jewelry maker. Can't handle that clacking. So I'm just going back and forth, side to side, making sure that my paint is laid out. One thing I didn't mention, I'll show you in a second. I'm going to lay this grid on my paper, and then I'm just going to take, let me get something, a piece of paper. This is plain copy paper. I'm going to lay it over the top of here. I'm holding it and I'm just using my fingers to burnish and not let it slide on the plate. Okay. You can go whichever direction you want. You can do as much of it as little. If you're trying to get a full image, you want to make sure that you do this to the whole thing. So when I pull this up, I don't know, I should have grabbed something besides white to start. You can see the white dots that I pulled through. But when I pull this off, you can see the pattern, the grid pattern of what I just put down. Now, when you're doing this, it's all about layering, okay? I started to say this. I have this old book. I use this to get excess paint off of my brayer before I go to another color. I don't have enough room in camera to do all of that, but I wanted to show you. And the fun part about this book is it was falling apart at the library. I have all of these painty book pages to use in my journals, in my snippets, in my tags, a way to decorate them. So this is just a good way to not waste paint. And I still have all of these pages that I can use in my various projects. There is that. So at this point, to maintain this pattern, I want to let this dry. It doesn't have to dry completely unless you want a very crisp image. But for time's sake here, I am not going to let it dry completely. You can see this is kind of wet here, but it's already starting to dry over here. So I live in Arizona and paint dries really quickly in Arizona because it's the dry desert. If you are in a damp climate, if you are in winter and it's wet, you're going to have to wait a few minutes between layers to maintain the pattern that you have put down. My thought process for today is I want to do a winter junk journal. So everything that I'm creating today is going to be in blues, purples, and whites. And I will be making pages and things for me to use in that journal. You can very much specifically do something, specifically use colors to make pages. Or you can just do random colors. It doesn't really matter. Kind of a situation of you do you. Okay. So I want to grab, I'm removing the books that were on top of my plants to smash them flat. So that's what I'm doing here. Um, I'm going to spread out this Arctic blue. I may not have gotten enough paint on there. That's kind of thin because I'm getting ready to put some plants down. And when I put my plants down, I use a little bit more paint than I would normally, just because I want to get a good um, I want to get a good image. So normally I would have my plants laying out flat before I do all of this. Um, Literally, they have been under books for about 30 minutes. So we'll see how this is going to go. I'm going to lay my paper down over it. I'm holding it. And I am literally going to push it down. And I'm using my fingers to burnish the stems, the leaves, all of the different parts. And it's just really, I'm feeling where these stems are. I'm going to move that out of my way. I want to get a really good image of these leaves down. And I'm going to do the whole thing. Now, you can actually lightly pull up the side to see if you still have paint and push down in the spots that you have missed. And I'm sorry, I'm shaking the camera. I see it moving. I just want to really get this good so you can see it on camera. Miss that spot up there. So I'm just going to one last time go over as many of the spots as I can with my hand before I pull this page off. And so I have not only the outline of those plants, but I also have part of that grid in here. You can see that I just pulled up, okay? So I'm going to pull this plant up and see how you have all of the uber amazing veining of the leaves. Now this one, we want it to dry really well. Does anybody have any questions while we're patiently waiting for this to dry? Welcome in, everyone. If I missed a ton of people, but thank you all for joining. This is a demo that I do for the Atelier raid train. I've done it every month for I don't even remember how long. I think you guys would get sick of it, but you don't. So here we are. So once this is fairly dry, let's see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a contrasting color behind this. I want it to be dark so it pops up. Like I said, I'm doing a winter journal. So I really want it to be like a winter theme in the blues, the purples, the whites. I did discover something today that made me really laugh out loud. I do not have snowflake stencils in my arsenal. I have hundreds of stencils. And do you think I could find a snowflake one anywhere? Nope. So that's going to be on the list. So I'm adding some purple. This is permanent violet. It should be a rather translucent color. And this is going to be my final layer of paint. Ooh, that's not enough paint, Tim. That got really dry. I need to have this really covered and it's pulling up my plants. Eeks. This may be a massive fail right here, y'all. We'll try it and see. See it pulling that up. I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to burnish the whole thing. Wait, what? Yes. I'm still working on the same one. Oh, I have 2 pages there. I'm like, why does that feel weird? Okay. So you want to burnish the whole thing. Make sure that all the edges are down. When it starts picking up the paint, you can feel it getting cool. I know it sounds crazy, but if you have a gel plate, you know what I'm talking about. You can feel the coolness in this. Hi, Katie. How are you? Yep. It did not do what I wanted it to do, but here we are. So it's okay. It's not great. It's okay. But the thing with gel plate printing is, yeah, Reba, it's all the layers. So it is so much fun. You can see some of the white grids over here. Then we go to the Arctic blue plants and then the deep purple to make it pop. Um, I'm going to show you a couple more and you'll see what I mean. We're going to start out with the Arctic, and I'm just leaving this stuff, the grunge that's on here. I guess it's a little drier today than I thought it was. So I'm going to use a little bit more paint. Debbie, okay. Thank you, honey. I'm going to spread this out, and this blue is mixing in with the purple, and I just knocked everything over, so that's fun. So you can, I'll show you, since that one was like utter nonsense. You can spread your plants out however you want. You can kind of position them, your leaves, the whole, it's up to you, okay? Come over here. They're being very particular today. I don't normally fight them this much, so I don't know. It's a day. We're going to set this aside so I don't stick my arm in it. And we're going to push all of this flat. There we are. And again, like I said, when you're using dimensional plant matter, you need to make sure that you get all of the spots. You can kind of see on camera where the stems are. I'm just working my way around. I wanted to use a darker color the first time with the first layer rather than the white so you can actually see it on camera. Just pushing down, making sure everything is done. And like I said before, you can pull up the edge and see, like in here, I can see that I didn't get all that paint. So I can just pop it back down and get in there. Nikki, I have done it with silk flowers. Yes, it works. I've done it with some more expensive silk flowers and it turned out really beautiful. I used some like Dollar Tree type silk flowers and it looks like crap. So I think it's more of a situation that the more expensive ones have more of the natural veining and they come out better. So there, we have a better outline with that, and I can print over this multiple times if I want to. So now you can see that purple veining. Excuse me. Let me I'm gonna put a white piece of paper behind this so you can see better there. So you can see all of the veining of the plant. And once that's dry, we're going to throw down a darker color. Of course, Payne's Gray, my favorite. And we're going to pull this up on that piece of fabric, if I can get some paint on here. I'm having to use more paint than normal today. I don't understand, but we'll see what happens. All right, we're going to take my brayer. I'm going to mix this out. And I want to make sure that this is spread very evenly. I don't have too much paint. If you do have too much paint, you can go over it with your brayer, and you can take your scratch paper or your book and you can roll it off, and then you can go over it again and see how it is getting more and more translucent. I'm just slowly pulling some of that paint because I got too much. It's not a huge loss. We're just halfway there and didn't happen. So we're going to literally take this tea towel. We're going to lay it down here. Oh, I almost got it off. And I'm going to use this to pull that print. Now, with the fabric, I want to make sure and burnish it really well so it gets into all the fibers of that cotton. You can, if you choose, just wait for this to dry and pull it. I'm not a patient person, and it's very rare that I will wait for it to dry completely to pull a print. Um, there we go. Nice. Can you use the roller to pull the print? You don't want to. So that's pretty. I like the subtleness of it. Um, what do you mean? Hi, Julie. How are you, whimsical birdie? One beloved. Hello. So this is on a piece of 100% cotton. If I want to, I can literally cut this out, and this is a fabric journal cover. The other fun part about this is I now have some of that textile texture on here. So the next one that I do is going to have that texture, and it's going to have like a almost a linen effect. Do you iron it to set the paint ink? No, I do not. Because it's just going on a journal. If you have ever played with acrylic paints, and if you've ever gotten in your clothing, you know that if you don't get to it immediately, it's there permanently. Um, got you, Nikki. That makes more sense. You can use the brayer to do it. I find that using the brayer to do that doesn't get all the spots. Some people prefer the brayer and they think they get a more even coverage. I like obviously I like having my hands in my ink in my art. Um, both ways work, and it's just a matter of doing whatever you're comfortable with. There's no right or wrong. That is the beautiful part of playing with a gel plate. Um, it's all about playing with different paints, different experimenting. And you see me using the Liquitex paints and all of this. Please understand you can do this with regular craft paints. As a matter of fact, some people say the craft paints work better. Um, this is just what I have available in the colors that I want to work with. We did get we did an experiment with the acrylic paints from the Dollar Tree. I would not suggest it. It was horrible. It was a very bad experience. It was a bad experience. Um, so I'm going to throw down, these are just old school plastic doilies. I'm going to throw them down for some pattern. Um, I'm going to take that original dotted one that we had, and I'm going to get some of this pattern in here. Um, so I'll show you the difference. No, because it's white, you won't be able to see it. Never mind. I'll show you a difference. So me using my fingers here as opposed to rolling the brayer over it. I don't know if this is going to show up, but we're going to try it and see what happens. So see how much more of the pattern I got from using my fingers, whereas with the brayer, it barely got down into the notches. Does that make sense? So that's what my hands did. I prefer my hands. You can try both ways and see what you like. Um, what blue are we going to use? Let's do more of this. I'm stuck on this Arctic blue for some reason today. It's really pretty. It's like a blue green. I've had these paints in my studio for, I don't know. I got them, well, I know I got them before the pandemic because I tried to order more and it was a hot mess trying to get the ones I wanted during the pandemic because everybody decided they wanted to be an artist during the pandemic. Which was amazing for our handmade community because people got back to their roots of creating, and it was pretty awesome. I just dropped the plants everywhere. So if you're wondering why I'm going sideways, these are going to be pages that are folded in half. So I kind of want the plants going that direction. Um, you can kind of do whatever you want to do. Let's see, what can we print on? Let's print on some music paper. I feel some good things came out from the pandemic. Nikki, you are very right. Good things came out of the pandemic. People got back to doing the things that they did at home. Everybody had to slow down, and I'm pretty sure everybody learned a new art or craft during it. So it was good. Welcome in, everyone. All right, we'll see where we're at. I may have let it dry a little bit too much by messing around. Happy afternoon, Barbara. We are going to be coming to see you in about 30 minutes, my love. How are you doing today? What are you demoing today? Ooh, since you're here and you can listen to me, you didn't see the other day when I was typing in your chat in our train. I have never used mineral paper. I know that sounds crazy. So this just puts some of those colors, but you can kind of see the outline of that doily back here. I will obviously add more to this before it goes in my journal, but I kind of like that one. And when you're using botanicals, something that I didn't say is when you use the botanicals and you take them off, if you lay them flat and let them dry, you can use them over and over again. Yeah, the veining looks good. That's why I'm over here carefully laying out these leaves so we can use them again. So that has a lot of paint that we need to let dry. Um, Different plants leave different vein patterns. And one of my favorites to use, which I didn't grab any, and I'm kind of wishing I would have now, is the creosote bush that we have here in Arizona, because the smell of the creosote is so amazing. And some of the pages that I have printed with the creosote, you can actually still smell it. So keep that in mind. It's kind of like coffee dyeing, where your paper continues to smell like coffee for a while. Same with different plants. So if you get a plant that has a very pungent smell that you don't like, understand that that smell may be worked into your pages for a minute. So there is that. I think we're gonna go. Oh, we're just gonna go rogue with this one, maybe. If I can get to it, we're gonna. I only pulled out blues and purples and whites. Same with flower pounding. Yeah. I'm going to go way dark. I'm going to do some Mars Black on this, and we're going to see what happens. Well, that's a mess. Okay. And did you hear that stickiness? You want to try to make sure that you have paint on your brayer before you start going with this, so you don't pull your dried image. Some people like to have a second jelly plate where they put their paint out and then they get their brayer covered and then take it to the plate. And that may be, if it's something that you're just starting out, you may want to try so you don't pull that image. It's just the one thing with jelly printing is you need to play. You need to figure out what works for you in your environment, because honestly, the temperature of your studio, the weather outside, the humidity levels, all of that make a difference when you are pulling prints. So this one is just a lined paper that I made. So I have journaling spots in my journals. So we're going to pull this on the opposite. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you so very much for watching. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you are welcome to click on the QR code and come over to Whatnot so you can see the chat, see who I'm talking to. We have a whole 2 days of live demos over on the Whatnot channel. So, yeah, and you'll learn what. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I like that one. So again, you can see all the veins in the plants. You can see all of the different colors that I had down, and it even pulled a little bit of purple from that last one. So we have that linen-y texture that we had with the last one. So this is going to make an amazing page in my journal because the other side is lined. And so I have a writing space and I have a decorative space. There's that. Let's keep going. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, and that is one of the downfalls is using too much paint. Will make a mess. You can get a wet, I'm just going to pull some of this excess paint off of here. You can get a wet strength tissue paper. What I like to use is the medical exam paper because it is a lot sturdier than tissue paper. There again, personal choice, complete personal choice. Let's do some lavender, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, we're going to do some lavender. I probably just got way too much paint. I get overexcited when I get the purples. I still have a little bit of black. I rolled a lot of it off, but there's still some there. So you see how it's pulling some of that black off my brayer. I'm okay with that because it gives it a natural grungy look, which, I mean, we all know grunge is the best. Just saying. We're going to go back to, oh, let's just do a stencil. So you can use just regular commercial stencils. You found one of the giant newsprint pads at Goodwill for $4. I want to try that. Venti newsprint works amazing. If I could get to my art closet right now, I would. I do have newsprint behind me. Never mind. I do have some newsprint behind me. I can show you. It works really well. So this is just that medical paper, but what I wanted to do was put some pattern down. So when you're doing your printing, basically keep in mind that you're layering colors. So whatever you put down first is going to be the most prominent color when you do your pull. So you kind of have to think in a dyslexic manner of if I wanted a dark page, I would need to put my dark paint down first. If I wanted a white page, I would need to put my white down first and then layer on top of that. And that is one of the fun things about this is that you play around with it and you can see how different colors layer different ways. Um, so like this one, I did the lavender first with the dots. Then we're going to go to a slightly darker color, which what should we do? I need a like a bright blue. We're going to do this bright blue. So we'll throw some of this down. I know. I know. I never use brights. Here we are. Then we're going to go to the bright blue. We're going to brayer that out. Get it spread evenly. We're going to, what are we going to do? We're going to throw some doilies on. We're going to pick up that color, get that doily going on. Ooh, I just smeared that. And see how I'm pushing down on this and you can see it pulling the color as I push down. I really want that pattern in there as much as possible. And you just cannot get that with a brayer. So I'm going to pull that up. And let that dry a minute. And you can see all of the, see if I can do this without making a disastrous mess. So when you have your plastic on, you can flip it over so you can kind of see that purple that I first put down. So you can see how that's going to pull when I throw this dark color on. You're still going to be able to see that purple because it was put down first. And I'm putting the Payne's gray down last. I'm keeping these in order so we can recreate this. I'm going to get rid of this turquoise on here, or some of it anyway, on my book. And here we go. We're going to put down the Payne's gray all over. So that's going to be our final color. Get it nice and spread. I want a white piece of paper so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to lay the white piece of paper down. And the fun part about all of this play is I'm making, I know, Wendy, gotta have the Payne's gray. All of these pages are going to be part of my blue winter journal that I'm making. And like I said, you can print on pretty much anything. So let's pull this up and see what we've got. Oh, yes. So there. So you can see that initial purple, right? Okay, we're going to set this aside. We don't have a ton of time, so I want to be able to do this completely opposite and show you the difference. So we're going to flip-flop that, and we're going to start with the Payne's gray first. And that should be enough. If you start with that first, we're going to brayer that out across the page, or across the plate, sorry. Get that even. We're going to grab that dot stencil like we used with the purple. We're going to throw some dots on this music, we'll do it on top of there, on this music page that we had. Get as much of that pulled up as we can. Pushing in, getting in all of those crevices of that stencil with my finger pads. So we have the dots. We're going to pull that off. And then we went to the cerulean blue. Actually, it's called sky blue. Dry, dry, dry. We need to hurry. Dry, dry, dry. We're going to do, no, shouldn't be, Lynn. This cerulean blue. And get rid of this paint. We're going to get that all over. So the second thing we used were the doilies. Put the doilies down. We're going to print that on, I'll just do it on some lined paper. That is not working like I want it to. We're going to use the same paper just for the sake of doing it, because I can get in those crevices better with this tissue paper. And you want to work your way around, and you can see that paint coming up. Do we have a problem with am I getting spotty? Hi Ames, how are you, love? Yes, we're doing experiments with the gel plate, and I'm showing the difference between whether you put dark or light colors down first, because it always makes a difference how you lay your colors down, what your end result is. Okay, dry, dry, dry. We got 10 minutes to do this. Good job, Tim. Da, da, da. While that's drying, I'm going to find a clean white piece of paper. Yeah. And this is the first one we did with this colorway. So now we're going to go to the lavender as our final color, which is exact opposite of what we did. It may be because of the YouTube lagging. Stay. Okay. So now we're going to take this lavender. We're going to put that down all over our page so we can pull this one. Oh, Amy, that was the best. That was the highlight of my day, honestly. Looking at your cherries. So we're burnishing this down really well. We want to make sure that that paint is hitting all sides. And yeah, I'm making a mess back here because I'm catching the sides with my fingers, but I'm struggling to keep the sleeves of my shirt out of this paint. Here we go. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Bam. Okay, so this is what we just got. Okay, so this is the first one, which is a lot darker. Exact same stencils, exact same colors, just flip-flopped whether we put dark first or light first. So do you understand how that makes such a huge difference? Yes, you can do it on any dyed paper. You can do it on fabric. You can do it on the tissue. It's just experiment with what you have and what you want to do. We've done fabric. I've done lace. What is jelly sheet? It is actually a gel printing plate. There's a number of different brands. The particular one that I am using is by Jelly Arts. You can also get the one by Gel Press, and either one of them work really well. They are the only two brands that I've worked with and the ones that I will recommend. Somebody told me that Christina Art Lines actually has them in her shop. So, would somebody tag her? Per place? Per place? Not a fan of speedball. You can't, yeah, you do. I said that in the beginning and I'm going to say it again. Do not purchase the speedball one from Michaels because it is designed to work with speedball ink only and it is used for printmaking. If you use acrylic inks on the speedball one, you will destroy it. So there's that. All right, are we ready to do what are we ready to do? We're gonna go back to this. It's yes. So if they are in the bin, if you want to go purchase one, you will have the replay of this for 60 days, and I will mail you one of the prints. If you are on YouTube, you can go to my YouTube channel. It is Tam's Creative Journey, all one word. And you can look for my demo. You like how I'm dropping that? Because it's going crazy directions. All right, there we go. It's random. Addictive Otter Crafts. It is a random choice. If you have a color choice, if you purchase one and you have a color choice, um, you can DM me, and if I have one made with the colors, then I will try to accommodate that. Probably there's, unless you are a huge pink lover, I do not have a ton of pink. Just saying. Just don't nobody come at me right now. But other than that, I have hundreds of gel prints around here that I can accommodate. Oh, we've got 3 minutes. Well, orange is one of my favorite colors to play with, so we should be good. I generally do boho colors. The only reason I am doing this today is because I am doing a blues winter junk journal, and I needed pages. So here we are. The splat of the plant on the box. I love it. I think we're going to have time to pull one more, my friends, before we have to raid. If you all were with me last night and you were watching the snippets that we did, I actually caught up. I cut up. Addictive Otter, thank you so very much for your purchase. I actually cut up the rest of that duvet and I got 4 more pieces out of it, and they are in the bin if you would like to get one. It's a whole situation. You're very welcome. Debbie, I love doing this with you. We're going to do a final Payne's Gray because we have to do some Payne's Gray to say goodbye, right? Let's roll this out. Let's pull it, and then we're going to go raid Barbara Florentine and all of her magnificent creativeness. Can we shoot for orange? Will you please DM me, because my brain may or may not remember that. I'm old. Thank you. Okay, let's do this, guys. We got 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you, Ames. See my friends take care of me. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh, I think it's probably going to be one of my favorite ones of the day. There we go. Bam. So we did this. 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 And we did fabric. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you for riding the train. Please bookmark my future shows. And we are going to go see Barbara, maybe. Why is Barbara not on? My friends. It's telling me Barbara. Oh, she just went live. Okay. That scared me for a minute. Thought we were going to have. All right. Debbie, thank you so very much for running this train. Everyone, please give her a follow. If you would like to jump on it, send her a direct message. Thank you all. Much love to you. I will see you. Have a blessed rest of your day. Much love, my friend.